Here's the latest one. Because, again, kind of the theme of tonight's show is it's never really the story that everybody's talking about. It's the story behind the story. What have people been talking about? Oh, Obama's going to come in and take your gun rights away. He's just going to go ban all guns. No, he's not. This is the way it's going to happen. Try this story that nobody's talking about in Illinois. You want to own a gun in Illinois? Well, now you may be forced to carry $1 million insurance policy to exercise your Second Amendment right. Excuse me? Here's Stephen Halbrook. He's an outside counsel for the National Rifle Association, author of the Founder's Second Amendment. I heard this today and I thought, wait a minute, how much would an insurance policy cost for a gun? But it even goes further. Stephen, is it not true that what they're proposing is that everyone has $1 million insurance policy for their gun if they own a gun for accidents or willful harm done with a gun?
That's right. We start with the fact that in Illinois, gun owners are already regulated quite heavily. You have to have a firearms owner's ID card, and if you don't have that, you can be convicted of a felony. So the proposal that's been made by Illinois Representative Ken Duncan is that if you don't have a $1 million insurance policy to cover liability, then your firearm owner ID card gets revoked, and either you get convicted of a felony for owning guns because your papers are not in order, or you can't own a gun. So unless you're very wealthy, I mean, if you're a poor person and you need to protect yourself in your own home, you can't do that because this bill would require these onerous fees for insurance. I can't imagine what the policies would cost. It's unprecedented that an ordinary gun owner would have to.
Hold on just a second. Let me help you out on this, Stephen. And how much would this cost? America, you ready for this? For negligent use of a gun, there are 0 insurance companies that will insure you now for negligence on a gun. One company in America will insure you if your gun is stolen. One, but no one. You know, this is like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Stephen. This is like saying, I'm going to go buy a rope, but I need to have an insurance program that will pay somebody $1 million if I intentionally use that rope to hang myself. Who would insure that?
The only insurance policies that are available would be against theft, where you would be reimbursed if your gun collection was stolen. But in terms of liability for negligent or willful misconduct against another person, that's just not available. So what we're doing here is trying to impose basically a requirement that you cannot get to exercise your Second Amendment rights. Can you imagine if we carry that to your field of endeavor, First Amendment rights? You might defame somebody, so why don't we require you to have some insurance policy against libel and slander? Or if you want to protest in the street or have a demonstration, you've got to have an insurance policy before you can exercise your right to free assembly because of the possibility there might be a riot. And of course, we're talking about law-abiding gun owners who go to the trouble of having these firearm owner ID cards. The people who commit crimes in Illinois and elsewhere don't have firearm owner ID cards. They're not going to have the insurance. This is only another scheme to harass and to regulate gun owners and to basically prohibit the exercise of Second Amendment rights.
If I'm not mistaken, Stephen, it's either 10 or 20% of murders in Illinois are committed with a knife. Should we have insurance for every knife we buy as well? This is the way it's all going to come down. Barack Obama said yesterday that he's not going after the Fairness Doctrine, and America, mark my word, he will not go for the Fairness Doctrine. It will come from a different direction. When they talk about unions and the card check, it's not going to be card check. It is going to be fast track. And when it comes to guns, he'll never ban guns. He'll just make them impossible to buy because of all of the rules, the regulations, and it will be wildly expensive. Agree or disagree, well, Stephen?
Think about the fact that gun ownership, it's becoming like a minefield that you've got to walk through, or else you're going to be convicted of a felony and go to prison for the violation of some technical requirement. If you're not able to get insurance and you're just there peacefully abiding by your own business and not hurting anyone, let's put you in prison. because you didn't fulfill this insurance requirement. And by the same token, the people who commit crimes don't do any of this. You know, Chicago has a horrible murder rate. They have a horrible crime program, crime problem. And so why don't we harass law-abiding gun owners to do something about it? I mean, that really helps. All
right, Stephen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And by the way, America, for the love of Pete, the founders weren't like, gee, I don't know, what kind of sport should we put into the Second Amendment? I don't know, I kind of like soccer. They didn't put it in for the sportsmen. It was to protect ourselves from an out-of-control government. Read the Founding Fathers, and you'll see. I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult you. Pinheads in Washington, read the words of the Founding Fathers.